For more than 3 years, the truth about one of America's deadliest school shootings was locked away. Now, shocking new records have been released, and they reveal what key officials knew when they knew it and the moments that could have saved lives. In this episode of Cuffed and Curious, we're breaking down the never-before-seen messages, personnel files, and chilling timelines from the 2022 Robb Elementary tragedy in Uvalde, Texas. Before we dive in, pause right now, hit like, share this with someone who needs to see it, and subscribe so you don't miss our next investigation. 19 children, 2 teachers, nearly 400 officers, and a 70-minute wait before confronting the gunman. Now, newly released documents shed light on the critical decisions and delays that turned a tragedy into an avoidable massacre. On Monday, after a years-long legal battle led by media organizations including CBS News and the Associated Press, the Uvalde Consolidated Independent School District released hundreds of pages of long-suppressed records. These include text messages, personnel files, and student records of the shooter, along with internal communications between top school officials and police officers on scene that day. It took a Texas appeals court ruling to force this disclosure, after the district and county tried to withhold them since 2022. And what's inside is both revealing and deeply unsettling. Hours before the shooting at 9:04 a.m., then Police Chief Pete Arredondo texted Officer Adrian Gonzalez to go hang out at the park with the seniors until 11:30. By 11:40 a.m., a district secretary sent Arredondo a message. Someone reported hearing shots outside Robb Elementary. They went ahead and locked themselves down. This was minutes after the gunman had already entered the school. The killer would remain inside, killing and wounding children for more than an hour. At 1:07 p.m., long after shots had been fired and victims lay dying, a message to Arredondo asked if any students had been injured or taken to the hospital, and whether the secure status on the school could be lifted. The gunman had been killed about 15 minutes earlier. These messages are part of a larger puzzle of catastrophic failures: flawed communication, absent leadership, and officers who hesitated despite training for exactly this kind of threat. Today, only 2 officers face criminal charges for their actions that day: former Chief Pete Arredondo and former Officer Adrian Gonzalez, both charged with multiple counts of child endangerment and abandonment. They have pleaded not guilty and are awaiting trial later this year. Meanwhile, questions remain about the hundreds of other officers who stood by, the training that failed, and whether lives could have been saved. Media attorney Laura Prather, who fought for the release of the records, called Monday's disclosure an important step toward giving the community the answers they deserve. But she added, 3 years is already too long to wait for truth and transparency that could prevent future tragedies. It's a reminder that in the aftermath of mass violence, the fight for information can be almost as long and bitter as the tragedy itself. Nearly 400 armed officers, a classroom of children and teachers, and 77 minutes before the shooter was stopped. The new records don't erase the horror, but they pull back the curtain on decisions that will haunt Uvalde forever. If this story shook you, don't let it disappear into the noise. Hit like so more people see it, share it to keep the conversation alive, and subscribe to Cuffed and Curious for more investigations that reveal the truth, no matter how long it takes to find it. For families in Uvalde, these documents aren't just paperwork, they're pieces of a shattered timeline. They want to know, could my child have been saved? Why did it take so long? Who will take responsibility? Insert interview audio clip, reenacted or real if licensed. We just want the truth. We've been asking for years. We can't move on without answers. The release of these records is both a relief and a reopening of old wounds. For many parents, the fight for justice feels as exhausting as the grief itself. 77 minutes. That's the official figure for how long heavily armed officers waited before entering the classroom. During that time, students trapped inside were calling 911, whispering for help, begging dispatchers to send police in. The new records don't fully explain why that wait happened, but they show that top officers on the scene received conflicting information, delayed communication, and in some cases, failed to act despite reports of ongoing gunfire. This story is bigger than one small Texas town. Across the United States, police departments and school districts are reviewing their own active shooter protocols, asking if they too could face a Uvalde moment. The tragedy has already led to proposed changes in Texas law enforcement training, technology upgrades, and new requirements for school security. But whether those changes will actually save lives in a future crisis remains uncertain. Who exactly made the decision to wait? Why did hundreds of trained officers remain in the hallway while children bled inside? And what role did fear, or a failure of leadership, truly play. The newly released messages give hints but not full closure. They're just another step in a long road toward truth. In the end, transparency came not from a willing government, but from a relentless community and a court order. It's a lesson: the truth often has to be fought for, and sometimes, it takes years to break through the walls. If you believe in uncovering the truth, no matter how long it takes, help keep this story alive. Like this video, share it, and subscribe to Cuffed and Curious. Our next investigation is already underway, and trust me, you won't want to miss it.